All right, so we got here today the scariest Family Guy episodes ever. I mean, hey, when it comes to scary episodes, there's a few. I think the scariest, one that used to scare me a lot, being younger, was the one where they were all in the house, with James Woods with the killer. I think that's one of Family Guy's most, I think this is widely, regarded as a top 10 Family Guy episodes ever. Another scary episode is when Peter, Joe, Cleveland, and Quagmire, they were all like in that haunted house. No, not haunted, but they were like at that house, and like they killed somebody there accidentally, and that guy happened to be like a veteran, something like that. I don't know. What else? There's a few of them, but let's go ahead and see.
These are the scariest episodes of Family Guy. What's more terrifying than Quagmire? How about a more aggressive, violent female Quagmire like we saw in Quagmire's Quagmire?
Oh my god, yeah, I remember this episode. This girl was just... I mean, no. Like, really? This girl was not just as freaky or just as crazy as he was or just as malicious, whatever, in the bed. No, she was worse. Like, she wasn't even as matched. Like, she was worse. Like, even Quagmire got tired. that tells you a lot. If Quagmire gets tired, now come on.
Many Quagmires already. Quagmire gets himself a brand new computer he doesn't know how to use, calling Peter for tech support.
I can't find my photos.
Did you look under photos?
What is that?
It's a folder called photos.
God, it's like talking to my grandma. The troubleshooter
Literally,
doesn't
bro.
work, causing his computer to freeze up and crash. Deciding to take it back to the store, Quagmire accidentally shows the tech there his browser history, and it's exactly what you'd expect.
Your browser history shows that you've been going to kinkylatinas.net, but that site has a bunch of malware.
As it turns out, she's into a lot of that same stuff, which compels
Yeah.
Quagmire to ask her out on a date. Quagmire and Sonia enjoy a nice dinner together, with Sonia stating that she's always felt that people treated her unfairly because of her interests. Luckily, that's just Quagmire's style, and the two bond over their shared, disturbing desires. However, Quagmire wakes up handcuffed to her bed with no recollection of what happened last night. As it turns out, Sonia drugged him to get him home with her. Surely that's too much, even for Quagmire.
Are you
Yeah.
No! I'm in love.
Crazy.
That's on me, I should know better. The duo continues to live out their kinkiest fantasies, including getting it on in the school gym in front of Quagmire's principal, creating abstract art with their bodies, and oh hell no.
Hi, Glenn.
Oh yeah, she wanted him to bang his dad. Oh my, that was crazy, bro. Yeah, she would have been cut off right there.
Easy, no! No way!
I'm going to pretend this never happened and keep moving. When Quagmire shows up at the bar in some sick new shades, Peter thinks he's being a tool and removes them, revealing two black eyes.
Is this another one of those related injuries you keep getting?
The guys think she might be going too far, but Quagmire assures them that they're perfectly happy together despite what his note says. Quagmire goes to leave, but Sonia's waiting for him at his car. When he asks that they slow things down, Sonia handcuffs him, beats him up, and throws him in the trunk.
Oh, I'm gonna clean out your trunk. Giggity.
That's my word! That's my word!
That's my
I
wife.
never thought a giggity could sound so menacing.
Yo.
Ida drops by Peter's to ask about Quagmire, having not heard from him in days. They decide to check out his usual hangout spots to see if they can track him down.
Wait a second. He hangs out at the Clam with some fat loudmouth. You find Loudy McFadden. You find Quagmire.
I won't correct
Yeah.
him, his heart is in the right place. After
Yeah,
checking all
some
the usual
fat
spots, there's
loudmouth.
still no sign of Quagmire. Thankfully, they get a tip when someone hears them use the name Sonia.
Excuse me, did you just say Sonia?
Yes, I did.
That was my dog's name.
Oh, never mind.
I
There's
thought he might have
another
been
guy.
talking about this super kinky woman who's always down here trying to lure men to her slave shed.
There we go, second time's the charm. The man tips them off to a unit at the Quahog Storage Center where they manage to hear Quagmire grunting from behind one of the lockers. When they get it open, they find him hanging upside down, begging to be let go. Before they can leave, Sonia shows up and turns Joe's gun on all of them.
Oh, I don't think you're gonna shoot me. You don't got the boo.
What?
I don't know.
Luckily, there were no
There's
bullets
no bullet
the
in
gun,
there.
which allows Joe to tackle and arrest Sonia. Everything turned out fine, and really, we didn't run into anything too disturbing.
My dad's pregnant with my kid.
Nope. Moving on.
Bro.
Quagmire isn't done with the terrors of the real world
I have no memories of that, man. Fuck. Whatever.
just yet, as he and the gang get together to kill his sister's abusive boyfriend in screams of silence.
Oh
and
yeah, I
struggle.
remember this. This episode used to scare me too, like when I was younger. Especially that scene at the end, where Quagmire basically ran him over on that tree. It used to scare me though. I remember watching this episode like late on Friday nights. When I was still like young, like probably still in elementary. Damn.
Brenda Q. Peter and Joe's fishing days being held
But
up
that dude, he deserved to die, bro. I swear to God, he was beating that girl so much, crazy, man.
Quagmire, who has yet to arrive. As it turns out, Quagmire is a bit hung up himself.
Holy crap! Oh my god! He must have autoerotically asphyxiated himself!
I'm going to hell for that joke, aren't I? They manage to get him to a hospital, but unfortunately he's fallen into a coma. Peter has notified Quagmire's sister Brenda, who arrives with her abusive boyfriend Jeff.
Shut up and limp! We're in a handicap spot, you
When Brenda starts to sing for Quagmire, he wakes from his coma. I'd hate to get out of a coma and have one of the first things I hear be that guy.
Hey, you touching my girl?
Relax, Jeff. That's your brother.
Yeah, that's how it starts.
Quagmire's taken home with Alice and Brenda offering to help him out until he's recovered. This, of course, only triggers Jeff, who belittles and screams at Brenda for every little thing. Quagmire drops by the Griffins to ask for help with Brenda's situation. He hasn't had much luck with her, so he hopes that maybe Lois can talk some sense into her. Lois takes her out for lunch, where it's revealed Jeff gave her a black eye.
Oh my god. No, it's really not that bad.
It is!
It only hurts when I see.
Lois tries to get her to see that she's the victim, but Brenda isn't quite ready to accept the truth. The neighbors set up...
Yeah, bro, that girl, she was delusional, bro. Like, yes, this dude was abusive as hell, but that girl was delusional as hell. Like, come on, bro. She was ready to marry this dude, bro.
What's going on. Not
yeah, she was talking about, oh yeah, he's doing this to me for a good reason. But beating you for a good...
Okay. Seems to be on the same page, though.
I feel like if he likes you, maybe you can change him.
Quagmire at least gets a heartfelt plea to his sister,
that's not gonna
which
work.
Does seem to work.
Glenn, I am so lucky to have such a wonderful, loving brother like you.
The moment is ruined by Jeff showing up, and despite the progress they seem to make, Brenda reveals that not only are she and Jeff engaged, but she's pregnant as well. This is one of those rare times when congratulations are not in order. Quagmire is obviously frustrated with the situation, fearing for the safety of the child once they come. Peter wishes they could handle things like they did years ago, where guys would get together and beat down anyone who hurt their wives. Sounds good to Quagmire.
The three of us. We go over there and we do what's right. We kill him.
As a cop, Joe can't condone this kind of vigilantism, yet all those concerns go out the window when they actually see Jeff beat Brenda.
Let's waste this.
The guys swing by Quagmire's to invite Jeff to an impromptu midnight hunting trip, something the psychopath is of course stoked for. Once out in the woods, Jeff overhears Quagmire's plan to kill him, so he holds Quagmire at gunpoint and knocks out Peter and Joe. Jeff makes Quagmire drive deeper into the woods, and before he can execute him, Quagmire challenges him to a fistfight.
Suit yourself, man! Just means you're gonna die slower!
Quagmire doesn't stand much of a chance, with Jeff quickly beating and seemingly strangling him to death. Yet when Jeff goes to dig a grave, Quagmire climbs into the car and delivers a sick one-liner.
I choke myself every day, you bastard.
Yeah.
Quagmire floors it and absolutely
just being a
squashes
freak
Jeff
pays
into a
off.
tree. It's less than he deserved, but he deserved it all the same.
Yeah.
But domestic abuse isn't the only scary thing about real life. You can't forget about murderers, and Quahog gets one when Lois's long-lost brother comes to town.
Oh yeah, this dude used to strangle fat guys. He had a thing against them. He was to strangle fat guys.
Fat guy strangler. Concerned with
fat souls,
Lois urges him to go get a physical at the hospital, and although he agrees to go, it's clear he has different plans.
Because I'm skipping my physical to go have steaks with the guys, and I don't want Lois to know about it.
Nothing to see here, just the family horse going for a walk. When Peter returns home, Peter tries to lie to Lois by saying the doctor said he was in too good of health, which Lois obviously sees through.
You didn't go to your physical, did you?
I did not.
When he finally makes it to the doctor, Peter is struck with the horrible, terrible, totally not obvious results.
You are pretty fat.
Okay, this is news to me.
Peter is obviously not happy about the news and tries to disprove it by hula hooping. Emphasis on tries.
No, I guess you couldn't do that if you were fat.
His reckless hooping knocks over a family picture of Lois's, but when she goes to pick it up, she notices it's folded to hide a boy. Brian didn't know Lois had a brother, and as it turns out, neither did she. After her father denies having a missing kid, Lois decides to sneak in.
You're telling me the picture was in there but folded?
But when she goes to pick it up, she notices it's folded to hide a boy. Brian didn't know Lois.
Well, what the? It was bro, and you never. What the? Bro, that's so odd, bro. How, bro? Picture folded like this in there.
Did she? After her father denies having a missing kid, Lois decides to sneak into their home to look at the family records. Good thing old people can sleep through anything, and I mean anything.
Awesome!
Lois finds out her brother's name is Patrick and decides to go and meet him. However, when she goes to his address, she doesn't find a house, but an insane asylum. maybe the rent is cheap? Despite this, Lois is eager to meet her brother. Chris decides to skip the pleasantries and cut right to the chase.
Why do you live in a crazy house, Uncle Patrick?
Patrick explains he was traumatized as a young child and was sent to the home to be rehabilitated, but figures the family forgot about him. Not seeing anything wrong with him, Lois decides to take him back home with them. However, it becomes clear he's still a little off, evident when Patrick introduces his wife to the family.
Marion is my wife. She's sitting right next to me.
Lois plays along with his delusion, much to the warning of Brian. But hey, who hasn't made up an imaginary girlfriend before? Not me. She just goes to a different school. You wouldn't know her. Things start to get spicier when Patrick confronts Peter over his forming of a coalition to support fat people, calling overweight people immoral. He tries to explain this stems from the trauma he suffered as a kid, but Peter ends up triggering him by dressing up as the guy from his memory.
Pow, right in the kisser.
Oh my god.
Clearly that wasn't the right move, as the next day the news reports on the murder of a local fat man, with a suspect sketch looking eerily familiar. To escape the fat guy strangler, Peter lets his coalition members stay in his house, unaware that he's living under the same roof. But Brian blows his cover.
Peter, you've got to get these guys out of here. Patrick is the murderer.
The group gives chase, leading Patrick into the woods. They split up to find him, but he seems to be gone without a trace.
Well, nothing left to do but finish this sentence uninterrupted.
Lois and Brian manage to arrive in the nick of time, threatening Patrick's made-up wife to get him to let Peter go. Patrick apologizes for what he did, never wanting to hurt Lois. He decides to go back to the mental hospital, but not before Peter can scare him one last time.
Pow, right in the kisser. I'm screaming, you can't hear me. Pow, right in the kisser.
Let's escape the real world for something more fictional, as Family Guy pays tribute to one of the greatest horror films of all time in one section of the episode, Oscar's Guy. Peter decides to
I don't remember this episode, no.
films by recreating them in this episode, with the ones they choose to do being determined by the spin of a wheel.
The wheel has spoken.
Our story begins with Lois training to become an FBI agent, which I guess involves a lot of...
Wait, what is this movie?
Stuff. I thought they just wore sunglasses and got cool blue jackets. Lois, playing the role of Agent Clarice Starling, is called upon by her boss for an important task.
We need you to talk to a super smart psychopath.
Agent Starling arrives at a mental asylum to speak with former professor and current cannibal Hannibal Lecter, played by, as you've probably already guessed, Stewie.
Hello, Clarice.
Clarice tells the doctor that they need his help with the case, but he refuses to help her until his absurd demands are met.
I want Mario Lopez to record my outgoing
voice. Mario Lopez.
That's like the 90s equivalent of asking Mr. Beast to be in your video. It just ain't happening. Meanwhile, Meg is seen driving to her apartment while being creepily watched by someone with night vision goggles. She spots Chris trying to load a computer into a van and offers to help, but gets shoved into the back. You never talk to someone with a van. That's like Stranger Danger 101. Clarice returns to Hannibal Lecter with the Mario Lopez voicemail, but he still refuses to help, warning Clarice not to test him.
A census taker did that once, and I ate his liver with dried Cheerios and a mashed up banana.
Gross. But
gross.
I'm also kinda hungry. Elsewhere, Chris is keeping her in a hole in his basement, forcing her to put on cheap drugstore lotion. That sick freak. Hannibal Lecter is moved to a new cell, and Clarice pleads with him to give her information on the killer who took Meg. Thankfully, he gives her his name, appearance, and exact location of where he lives.
I'll have to really lean on my button criminology skills to decipher these obscure breadcrumbs.
Sure, you do that.
Buffalo Bill.
Yet when Lecter is left with the police, he manages to escape his holding by wearing the skin of one of the guards. Looks so natural. Clarice finds the house she's looking for and strikes up a conversation with Chris about the missing girl.
Is she that great big, huge, plump, very large, Rubenesque fat girl who went missing?
Meg cries out against all those adjectives from the basement, causing Clarice
what a description.
to down there. She can't see a thing in the dark, but Chris stalks her with his goggles. Yet he screws things up for himself when he switches from night vision mode to night club mode.
You, me, you.
Clarice
exactly. Bow, bow, bow.
Apprehending the serial killer. She receives a call from Lecter, letting her know he's escaped and has some important dinner plans.
I'm having an old friend for dinner.
You're gonna eat a friend?
That was kind of supposed to be the last line, and you ruined it.
But the adaptations don't stop there, with 3 of Stephen King's most popular
Hold on, this
stories
movie sound, I don't know, this scene where it says, oh, I'm having lunch with an old friend. This reminds me of something, though. Maybe I did see, I don't know.
Life in 3 Kings. Peter introduces us to the mind of famous author Stephen King through 3 short stories based on his work, first starting with...
Haven't seen that episode, but I've seen certain clips.
Kids in the 1950s doing 50s kid things like smoking cigarettes and reading Playboy. Cleveland eventually arrives with the offer of a lifetime.
This is way better than Playboy.
Do you guys want to see a dead body?
The four set out on foot to catch a glimpse of this corpse, passing through an angry old man's junkyard in the process.
I'm Old Man Pressman. I own the junkyard. I'm cranky because all my stuff is junk.
He sicks his dog on the boys, but luckily they're able to get away and make it to the railroad tracks. The four make the dangerous decision to cross the railroad bridge where, sure enough, a train starts to come barreling out.
Cleveland's getting ran over, whatever.
And jump to safety. All except Joe.
Oh no, it's Joe, sorry.
Probably needs to be back in his wheelchair. It just feels right. They finally make it to the dead body, which is more horrid and unsightly than they could have possibly imagined.
He's nasty.
Suddenly, the local sleaze
oh my god
to take credit for finding the body, but luckily Peter is packing and manages to scare him off. Until the bully says he'll just come to his house later and kill him.
Boy, that is a major hole in this story. Okay, take the body.
Our next
really
story
is
a bit more horror adjacent, this time an adaptation of Misery. We see Brian as an award-winning children's book author who just finished his final book, killing off his titular character. His manager tries to talk him out of it, but he's ready to start writing serious stories. You can just do that, though. Do you really need to kill the character? While driving through the winding, snowy mountain roads, he accidentally runs over Stephen King himself. Luckily, this just gives him his next book.
Hey, this would make a neat story.
A neat story, definitely.
Done.
Brian isn't so lucky, crashing
It's
into
productive.
car, and as he lies there motionless in the snow, an unknown figure pries him from the wreck.
I'm your number one fan. I'm your number one fan. I'm your number one fan.
Brian awakens in bed, being attended to by a fan named Stewie, who rescued him after he broke his legs in the accident. Stewie happens to find the manuscript for Brian's new book, and he agrees to let them read it. Unfortunately, it doesn't sound like they're too excited about the whole killing the main character idea.
He can't be dead! Snuggly Jeff cannot be dead!
With nowhere to go, Stewie forces Brian to write a new book where Snuggly Jeff comes back to life. Brian eventually runs out of paper, so Stewie drives into town to get more, giving Brian the chance to escape. Thankfully, a sheriff shows up to save the day, but it's Joe, so you know how that goes. Oh well, maybe Joe can keep his legs in the next
Re-cripple him.
The final story is The Shawshank Redemption, where Peter arrives as an inmate in a high-security
prison.
Okay,
Peter now I get it,
the authorities almost immediately by locking
the
himself in the
Shawshank
warden's office to broadcast the one true
Andy
national
Dufresne and this.
After being locked up for months, Peter plans to escape that very night and asks Cleveland to retrieve something for him under a rock hidden by a tree. Super specific directions, thanks man. While poking around in Peter's cell, they find a long tunnel right behind a poster with Peter long gone. By
behind the Maryland poster.
Peter manages to escape as a free man on the other side.
Why he chose enchilada night, I will never know.
Cleveland eventually gets released and goes to a spot Peter had told him to visit before.
Yeah, just like Red did.
Asking him to meet Peter in Mexico.
You remember the name of the town in Mexico, right?
Yes.
So
he doesn't.
I don't think they're ever going to meet again. But I know what you're thinking.
What the?
About Joe's legs?
Oh yeah, that was that was a guy who was one of the sisters in jail. That was always picking on Andy. Yes, he never walked again. What was his name again? Bars, something like that. I don't know.
Baby. How about one more adaptation? This time, Stewie and Brian must face a Terminator designed to kill them in P-Terminator.
P-Terminator.
Suddenly teleports from out of nowhere. Thank God for the black bar. This Peter gets his hand on a shotgun and some convenient.
I actually never watched a Terminator though.
Now all he needs is a ride, but the giant ship.
Been hearing about those movies all my life, but
Aw,
damn.
Never mind. Back at home,
his fucking
Stewie
head
grows
off.
angry with Lois feeding him broccoli, so he begins designing a Peter-like robot to destroy her. Still far from being ready, he tosses his designs out the car window, not knowing that his robot has been made and has come back to the present. The robot shows up at the house, and Stewie immediately starts to piece it together.
My future self must have built it and sent it back in time to help me kill Lois.
Yet when the Terminator comes into the house, he tries to kill Stewie instead. Brian and Stewie flee upstairs,
Damn.
realizing that an enemy of Stewie's must have stolen the robot.
Yeah, but I have memories of this episode, I think.
Thankfully, this baby stays strapped as he and Brian grab a few guns and peel out on his big wheel.
Hey, Peter, check it out, my new electric wheelchair.
The Terminator chases the two in a channel beneath the bridge, coming very close to killing them, but wipes out in a puddle.
Bro, come on, man.
Huh, so robots can fart. You learn something new every day. Stewie and Brian ride off, but their troubles are far from over.
Da 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 da.
Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da.
The two hide out in a motel, unable to go home. The Terminator eventually finds and confronts them in the parking lot, but when Brian jumps in front of Stewie to save him, the robot backs down and makes a shocking revelation.
You are Brian Griffin. You programmed me to kill your enemies, Stuart Griffin.
What a twist!
I remember this shit. It's crazy, man.
2060, so the two have to go back in time to find out what happened to their friendship.
That's not your normal time pad. Where'd you get that?
I borrowed it from Rick and Morty. They borrowed plenty from us.
Got him! The duo travel into the future where they find the
Damn.
world in a ruined wasteland with Stewie and
To the
Brian
future?
fighting one another. They both manage to stumble
A bunch
across
of
their
Brians
future
and
selves,
Stewie
with
fighting.
asking what Brian did to cause this war.
He ruined what could have been a perfect Instagram post with a sarcastic comment. Ugh, I hate that.
Millions dead over that? It's a good thing influencers aren't leading the world. For now. The two
For
Brians
now,
end up being
yeah,
spotted
because
by
in
Stewie's
the near
resistance, but Stewie
future,
manages to
bro.
travel back with Brian at the last
Who
second.
knows?
To avoid this future, the two hit the road, and thankfully, being stuck in a car with someone for hours couldn't possibly make you hate them.
Do you really think sunflower seeds is the best choice of snack while we're trying not to hate each other?
They don't get very far, getting pulled over by a patrol officer
Hey,
who
sunflower
looks
seeds,
suspiciously
hey.
like Lois. Turns out it's another
Took a
Terminator
break,
sent
man.
back in time by Stewie to kill Brian, with more metal androids arriving not long after. Brian and Stewie drive off, but are brought to a stop again because they can't stop fighting.
You go to hell!
Stewie realizes that this is the moment that creates their terrible future, and to stop it, they must prove their love to the world in the only way best friends can.
Brian, we have to kiss.
Oh, come on, Stewie.
With this true act of love, the Terminators disappear from existence. Nothing wrong with giving the homies a little lip love to save the world, right? Let's pivot to something a little more Halloween-y, like the time when Peter creates a hologram of himself that turns evil in Happy Halloween. The Spooner Street neighbors decide to enjoy
I don't remember this episode,
home
though.
to horrifying experiences
Nope.
like the House of Unskippable Podcast ads.
I'm hitting skip ahead, but it's not doing anything.
This seems like a good
Unskippable
time to talk about
podcast
today's
ads.
sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. Just kidding. The guys end up visiting a haunted house containing a hallway of holograms which feature famous figures through history like you've never seen them before. Blue and glitchy.
Wow, these holograms are the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And I've seen, like, a really big horse.
Peter actually manages to stumble across the mad scientist who built all the holograms, who reveals that they're capable of interacting with the physical world and can be made to perform menial tasks. Seeing this as a great way to avoid his family, Peter trades his clothes for the scientist's device. For a show named Family Guy, Peter sure does seem to hate the family part. Back at the house, Peter manages to create a near-perfect hologram of himself that he can use to do all the chores he doesn't want to do. I thought that's why people have kids. When Peter finally manages to stumble home, he sees the hologram really winning the family over, which is great for him. What isn't great is the fact that that means the hologram gets to kiss Lois.
No one kisses my wife.
What
except
the
for
hell?
Nancy
No.
Peter confronts the hologram outside, expressing second thoughts about avoiding his family so much. The hologram doesn't entirely seem like it wants to stop, but Peter's the boss, so they go into the basement to sort everything out. But just as Peter
gonna lock
realizes
you in
the
there.
hologram machine is gone, he gets knocked out by his doppelganger and sent tumbling down the stairs.
What happened? I knocked you out and tied you up. Why? Because they're my family now.
The hologram argues
My
that he loves
family
Peter's
now.
family more than he ever did, planning to get rid of him so he can have them all to himself. Of course, the good Peter is evil. We can never have nice things, can we? As she gets ready for bed, Lois begins to clue into the fact that the man in her bed may not be her husband.
Well, we had meatloaf tonight, so I guess I'm in for a Dutch oven.
What's a Dutch oven?
Not knowing fart slang and flossing his teeth.
Yeah, that's where you fucked up, bro. Peter, the real Peter would have known that. Now you're caught. You're caught. You're caught.
Who are you? Lois loads the family into the car to escape, but it's too late.
Going somewhere, family.
Tying the family up in the living room, the hologram expresses feeling unappreciated, saying if he can't have this family, nobody can. Thankfully, Peter emerges from the basement, and the two Peters engage in a brutal fistfight. Peter's on the verge of losing, but Stewie gets the bright idea to charge the family full of static electricity to short-circuit and destroy the hologram.
I love you guys. And from now on, I'll try to be half as good as hologram me was.
Half? Not as good or better?
Yeah,
Candy choosers. That's not the only
Bars in hell.
place on Halloween. There's also.
Oh yeah, I remember this episode, bro. That was that Halloween, you know, on Spooner Street. Definitely a classic right there, you know, with Stewie and his bullies. Meg and Chris literally in that closet. You know, we're not going to talk about it. And that was it, man. Like that was a great episode, yeah.
Stewie and Brian plotted a Halloween revenge, and Peter starts a prank war.
Oh yeah, the prank, you know, with Quagmire, bro. Quagmire and Joe actually, bro. These two, they did the do because of because of Peter, I think, and bro, Quagmire, you know, you know what happened, you know, he pranked them, you know, making them feel like, you know, they were gonna die, you know, in a plane crash or whatever.
Halloween on Spooner Street. Peter explains that every year either he, Joe, or Quagmire is the target of pranks from the other two, and this year Quagmire is it. This obviously terrifies Quagmire, who tries to lay low this season, though he's not so lucky. Quagmire isn't even safe in the comfort of his own bed with what he thinks is a woman.
Wow,
oh
that
my
was
God.
terrific, Jessica.
It was good for me, too.
I don't know, tricking your friend into getting it on with you kind of feels like you pranked yourself. Meanwhile, Stewie gets spooked when he sees a bunch of little monsters running around.
He started shooting everyone.
All right, you undead. It's time to send you back to hell!
Luckily,
Assault
Brian explains
rifle.
they're just trick-or-treaters, which isn't something Stewie understands. Brian decides to take Stewie out for his first Halloween, pulling in an impressive haul of candy in the process. Yet when Stewie loses track of Brian, he's approached by 3 mean-looking teenagers on bikes.
Damn.
He's got ripped jeans. That's how you know he's a bully. But
Thanks, Duck Boy.
I think there's a saying about candy and babies, but I just can't think of it. Stewie manages to find Brian and insists they track down the teens who stole his candy. Back at the house, Quagmire's torment is over for the night and he can finally relax. Peter then learns of Quagmire's Japanese grandfather, who was a kamikaze fighter in World War II. Kamikaze doesn't seem to be a word in Peter's wheelhouse.
Wow, how come I never met him?
He was a kamikaze pilot.
Yeah, no, I heard you. He was a karma chameleon, but how come I never met him?
Brian and Stewie manage to
Peter,
track
come
down
on
the
now.
teens, and as the only adult, Brian decides to politely ask for the candy back.
What do you say you just give it back and we all forget this ever happened?
Sure, why not? Your friend's candy is right around the corner.
Brian should know to never
Paint
trust
him.
a teen with a chain on his pants, as the trio just ends up spray painting.
Paint him pink. That's
Those
crazy.
little punks want a war, and now they've got one.
The two begin working on their plan, and Brian's response is pretty reasonable.
First, we track down those teenage hoodlums and kill them all!
Yeah, okay, fine, let's kill him.
Dang, I didn't know Brian had that dog in him. Well, let's
Damn,
something truly
Brian's the
scary.
gangster.
Meg is at a Halloween party disguised as a cat and playing spin the bottle. It lands on someone dressed as Optimus Prime, and the two go into the closet to make out. When they take too long
Oh
to
my
finish,
God.
the horrible truth is revealed.
The incest is crazy.
That's what Halloween is all about, kids. Lasting, unshakable trauma. Elsewhere, Peter, Joe, and
Crazy.
Quagmire are relaxing at the Air Force graveyard when Quagmire spots an old Japanese plane like his grandpa used to fly. He decides to
Hold on for a second. Okay, sorry, I'm back.
fire it up and take the guys on a ride. And what a ride it is. Meanwhile, Brian and Stewie track the teens to a backyard where Stewie reasonably and politely threatens them with a rocket launcher.
Hey, it's that stupid kid.
Yes, it's that stupid kid.
That stupid
Now,
kid.
listen very closely, because here's how it's gonna go down.
Before a deal is struck, Stewie's hit by a rock that sends him tumbling and misfiring a rocket. Well, that didn't work. Time for plan B.
Mom!
Works every time. Up in the air, Quagmire takes the guys on a nice flight over Quahog. When they spot the naval yard, Quagmire feels overcome by something and starts to nosedive toward it.
I can feel my grandfather's Japanese blood coursing through my veins.
The plane
Oh my
barrels
God.
towards battleship, terrifying
Can you feel
Peter
it?
and Joe. As Quagmire starts speaking Japanese, it looks like they'll all be getting a first-hand kamikaze experience.
You know what they call this in my country? What? Payback!
Turns out
Payback!
Quagmire isn't even Japanese. He just planned this as revenge for Joe tricking him into getting it on. He's a better man than me. I probably would have gone through with it. Do you like scary
Yeah.
movies? While Peter and his friends try to
Oh
run him,
yeah,
they'll wind up with
that's the episode I was talking about. Before I started the video, yeah, where they were in that building, that house, and then they killed this guy. Who was a veteran. Definitely, yeah, definitely one of the scariest episodes. Yeah, definitely.
blood on their hands in Peter Normal activity. The gang is left disappointed when they go to see the sequel to one of their favorite horror movies, seeing it as a rehash of the first movie.
Jeez, this movie sucks.
No, it's terrible.
Convinced they could write a better movie, the four sit down to iron out their own horror movie, but can't come up with anything worthwhile. Quagmire thinks they need to go somewhere that will inspire them, and Joe suggests the old Quahog Asylum.
What? Well, we can't go there. That place has been abandoned for years. And they say it's haunted by a ghost with a hook hand.
Don't worry, Peter. Hook hands aren't real. The guys make their way to the asylum, setting up shop in a rundown theater
Asylum,
They
yeah.
spitball ideas like a crazy cat that eats teenagers to soap that kills you, but can't decide on an idea to go with. When they start to hear bumping around in the building, they decide it's time to split.
You guys, I'm scared. You remember that movie, The Blob? What if The Blob?
To their shock, the door has been locked and they get spooked by a blood-curdling scream from something even scarier than a ghost. An old meme.
Sorry, guys. Somebody emailed me a video of a sheep screaming.
Peter is a fucking jerk.
The guys eventually find their way out, and Quagmire is able to spot an exit door.
Those footsteps are getting closer.
Those aren't footsteps. It's an old building. Just relax. Besides, I can see an exit door right there.
Where?
Right there, behind that guy with the hook.
Booking it in the other direction, the group finally make it outside and back to the car, but the hooked man is right behind them. Realizing they have the numbers advantage, they decide to gang up on the ghost and beat the crap out of him. Only he's not a ghost, he's a man, and a veteran at that.
I've been trying to help you. I'm the caretaker here.
The man dies, leaving the forest murderers. It's
That's
not the first
crazy,
time for most of them, and probably won't be the last. Quagmire thinks they should turn themselves in, but Joe, of all people, is against the idea. They decide to bury the body in the woods, swearing to never speak about this night again. A disheveled Peter wakes up the next morning, and it seems like Lois may be onto him.
I know what you did last night.
She's just talking about him leaving his dishes in the sink. False alarm, everyone.
So I did half, and I left the other half for you.
Do it. Do it, Peter.
Do it.
While the other guys stress about the whole killing a war hero thing, Quagmire starts to deny his involvement and even provides a poorly shopped alibi.
Last night I was in St. Louis. I even have a picture.
Thinking Quagmire is going to rat them out, the other three start to get suspicious. It turns out nobody can be trusted, as when Peter returns to the asylum to frame Quagmire, he finds the other three doing the exact same thing. The group almost comes to blows, but Peter makes a shocking realization.
Here's our movie.
See? This is a horror movie.
Yeah.
The story actually manages to get made for the big screen, but unfortunately, it sucks. With a murder and a terrible movie under their belts, the guys at least find a silver lining when they see that the man they killed was actually a stolen valor racist. I guess accidentally killing someone can sometimes be a good thing.
Yeah, I guess.
And finally, a classic spooky episode where the Griffins are haunted after disturbing an ancient burial ground in Petergeist. During a movie night at Joe's place, Peter gets jealous over his brand new home theater room. Looking to one-up him, Peter...
Hang on, I never heard I've never seen this episode before. I'm surprised, a killer in the house wasn't in the list, but damn.
Decides to build his own multiplex in his backyard. When they start breaking ground, Peter finds a skull wearing a Native American headdress.
Peter, I'd put that back if I were you. You may be disturbing a sacred burial site.
But this is Peter we're talking about, who's quick to ignore Brian's warnings and brings it into the house to use as a plaything, and other not-so-respectful things.
Are you peeing in that skull?
Oh, no, Lois. I'm getting up and walking all the way to the bathroom and doing it there.
Peter's negligence comes to bite him in the butt when strange things start to happen, including the television talking to Stewie and ghostly hands start to creep across the room.
They're here.
If your baby ever says that, you run.
Yeah, you
Brian
run.
suspect that the house may have a ghost problem, but Lois disagrees despite weird things continuing to happen.
Oh, I must have accidentally stacked all those things upside down and then just forgot about it.
Yeah, I've been there too. When night falls, things just get spookier as a portal opens up in Stewie's closet, sucking him into who knows where. Not only that, but Peter finds his entire face falling off and Chris is attacked by a monstrous tree. Lois looks everywhere for Stewie but can't find him anywhere in the house.
Stewie? Where are you?
Look behind you, you stupid cow!
With Stewie stuck in the fog, the Griffins hire a spiritual medium to attempt to contact the other side.
Hey, how y'all guys doing? Y'all got a little friend of ours named Stuart up there.
The medium is able to deduce that Stewie was pulled into the ghost world, and the only way out is... how do I put this?
Meg!
Yep, that. The family stays up all night waiting for Stewie to find his way out, but it never happens. Fed up with waiting, Lois volunteers to enter the ghost world to bring him home herself. Tied to a rope, Lois enters the ghost realm and actually manages to escape with Stewie. Unfortunately, they aren't the only ones to escape as multiple ghosts begin to pour out of Meg, causing the family to flee and accidentally leaving Meg behind.
Oh, yeah, right, like I'm going back for Meg.
Peter!
Lois, damn it, we both agreed, remember? If we can only save two, we leave Meg.
What a big, happy family they
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
With Meg now in tow, the Griffins leave the remains behind and drive off as their house disappears.
Meg, stay catching strays,
the family goes
whatever.
to Quagmire to find housing, but he's a tad preoccupied at the moment with whatever is going on back there.
So, as you can see, my family's here, and it's game night. We're playing
The family decides to consult a book on the
Bro,
occult,
what
learning
the-
that the only way to get rid of the ghosts is to return the remains back to where they came from. They go to the dump to try to find the missing skull, but an attendant informs them that the skull was taken by a prop comedian named Carrot Top. If you don't remember who that is, don't worry, no one does. Arriving at Carrot Top's mansion, Peter tries to take the skull from him, but he won't give it up easily. He chases the comedian through hidden rooms and halls of mirrors before sneaking up behind him and grabbing the skull. No hard feelings though, as Peter seems to be a big fan.
You are so f***ing funny! You are so... God damn you for being so funny!
With the skull reburied in its original resting place...
It's crazy to see how much more vulgar Family Guy used to be in the older episodes, though.
The Griffin house returns, and Peter almost immediately tries to ruin it.
What the hell?
Peter, stop! Anyways, that's gonna be it for this one, man. I'll see you guys in the next one, man. Peace out.